Hello, happy folks. I hope your Friday is well. I am Chantay. I'm here with a week in review of this week's political analysis. But I'm not going to be too long because it is late and people want to enjoy their weekend. So I'm just gonna hit it and quit it and just be done with it. So here we go. All right. So with the coronavirus, you guys start still in the midst of this pandemic. Global confirmed cases, we're at 98,129,394. So we're almost at 100 million. Global death toll is at 2,105,056. U.S. confirmed cases here at home, we at 24,815,084. U.S. death toll is 413,925. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to my big sister. And I just leave it as that. In other countries with high cases, you can see India has 10.6. Brazil has 8.7. Russia has 3,637,000 and 637,862. The UK has 3,594,094. Keep in mind the United States have the UK strand. The New York State been having the UK strand, but now the whole country got the UK strand. So I'm not surprised. France has 3,069,695. Spain has 2,499,560. Italy has 2,441,854. Turkey has 2,418,472. And Germany has 2.1. In Panama, they have 307,793. Ecuador, 237,158. DR, 201,145. Nigeria, 118,138. Kenya, 99,769. And Ghana, 480. Jamaica has 14,658. Belize has 11,700. Bahamas have 8,101. Trinidad and Tobago, 7,456. Guyana, 7,143. St. Vincent, 690. Antigua, 195. Grenada, 135 cases. I don't know what the hell is going on in my brother-in-law's home country, but I'm going to ask him what the hell is going on. Dominica, 113. And St. Kitts, 35. And then here at home, California is at 3.1. Texas is at 2.2. Excuse me. Florida is at 1.6. Yet Ron DeSantis is criticizing President Biden's deploying FEMA and the Marine Corps for their assistance. But you guys got 1,627,595. That's why they call your ass Death Santis. New York, 1,309,660. And the rising cases in New York is in New York City, particularly in Staten Island, the Bronx, and some parts of upstate. Wear your mask. In New York City in particular, we get free masks. You can go to the train station, get a free mask. You go to the store, you get a free mask. You go to the hospital and get a free mask. I'm not understanding with New York. I don't understand how people in New York City in particular, how the hell y'all don't wear no mask. You know how the governor is of New York State. You know how he is. He rolls up on people. Come on, he was in the Lower East Side a couple of months ago because they were partying. Some of them without no mask. Do better, New York. Do better. Illinois, 1,095,917. Ohio, 853,982. You have Georgia, 799. No, they have more than that. They have like over 8,000. You have Arizona, 710,273. And North Carolina, 8,931. They round out the top 10, but the 799,000 came from Pennsylvania. So that's Pennsylvania. That's my fault. While Georgia has over 800,000 cases, and yet their state is not that big. Oh, you could go to the Johns Hopkins website. That's coronavirus.jhu.edu. And if for the state, you can subscribe to the New York Times COVID map. It's free. It's only free for COVID and the Washington Post. But can you ask Hensel why Grenada has 135 cases when they had 23 back in July and August and September and October? Anywho. Yep, but we do have a national strategies coming with this new administration, the Biden administration, the Biden and Harris administration. I can freely say, Mr. President, Joseph Robinette Biden, Mr. President. President Biden and his administration, they've been having briefings almost like every day based on COVID, and he's going to let the scientists do their job. Dr. Fauci, if you missed the interview with Rachel Maddow with Dr. Fauci, you can see, with Dr. Fauci and the Rachel Maddow interview, you can catch it online. It's really good. He said he feels liberated to talk about it. He even said before it's a sense of liberation. Like we got a sense of normalcy again. So you want info? I want to know what's going on in Grenada. Because that's insane. You can text me later. Text me later. It's your birthday. Enjoy your birthday. You got 40 minutes left of it. So enjoy yourself. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, he does look 5 years younger. And you know what? Dr. Fauci's 80. He's 80 years old and still alive and kicking and still got this. DOH info. For New York? Or for, what you call it? But, yeah. It's a sense of normalcy again. Like, nothing's not going to go back to normal right away, but we have a functioning government that can address people testing positive with the first dose. Oh, you can tell me that info. You want me or you? Because I don't know that info with the vaccine, but I know it's only like 37 million people that has been vaccinated. Not a lot of people have been vaccinated. Because it's 328 million people here in the United States and only 37 million people have been vaccinated. That's like 1/16. I don't even know the fraction. So, yeah. 37 people. Yeah. Oh! You could text me that information, sis. By the way, everybody, that's my sister's on the timeline. You know, my sister works in like that healthcare arena, the direct services. She's actually a supervisor in direct services, so she knows she works with the most vulnerable population, and she's a frontline worker. So kudos to all the frontline workers that I know that's in my family and outside of my family, and to all you people that have frontline workers, be safe out there. I pray that you guys are well. Thanks Sheba. But yeah, it's a sense of normalcy. And also, like I said, we have a national strategies coming. But the vaccine rollout it's going to take some time because this administration lied and said that there was a lot of vaccine things, but they actually piled them. So that is crazy. Oh, thanks, Shay. But that's crazy. It's crazy. So that's why, like, I always push back when people give this administration, the Biden administration, thank you, giving the Biden administration praises, and not Biden, the Trump administration praises, because the Trump administration failed a lot and they did not acknowledge the science. And according to Dr. Fauci's quote, I'm going to say this about Dr. Fauci, Wagwan Queen Lion, there was never this real affront on science until Donald Trump came in. So there was never an attack on science until Donald Trump came in. Are we surprised? No, because Republicans for the last, I guess, I don't know how many years, 20, 30 years, have been anti-science. More so on the conservative frontier, since the Ronald Reagans of the world and his ilk have been anti-science. So I'm not surprised this guy is anti-science. At least with George Bush, H.W. Bush, which was a moderate, signed the Clean Air Act and everything. But Reagan and this knucklehead are anti-science. Only thing, Reagan was a little smarter than Donald Trump, but he was still horrible. He handled the HIV crisis terrible. And Donald Trump handled this pandemic terrible, and let Mike Pence, out of all people who mishandled the HIV outbreak in his home state when he was the governor of Indiana, lead this pandemic. And that's why we had almost 25 million cases here in the U.S., and we account for 20% of the cases on the globe, and we're not even the largest population on the globe. We're only 328.2 million people, and I'm pretty sure our population has decreased because Donald Trump's harsh and disgusting and deplorable immigration policy is responsible for probably our population decline. That's just my analysis, but I'm pretty sure that I am spot on. But yeah, we have science, accountability, a press secretary that's not combative. Jen Psaki, who is an Obama alumni in the press area, and also a former CNN political commentator who is now the press secretary, is on key. She's not combative. She answers follow-up questions, and she does second rounds. And I think that's very big of her. This administration is already demonstrating the leadership that Joe Biden promised during the campaign trail. And even when Kamala ran for president, the transparency that she brings. So both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are equally yoked in terms of leadership together. And that's what we need. We need leaders that will speak for the people. We don't need leaders that speak for the 30% of the population. We need leaders that speak to everybody, that can reach everybody, and that can not just only bring the unity, which I'll talk about later with these damn Republicans, but that can move this country forward and have the progress that we need to have. It's the third decade of the 21st century, and tell me why we're still heavily divided. Why there's a first for everything, like a first African-American defense secretary, a first African-American and woman vice president, only 2 black women that served in the Senate. Please tell me why there always is a first in the third decade of the 21st century when there should be multiple. Why we only have 1 African-American president. Like, those things are questionable. And that's why we have the leadership that we have that looked like America. So we need to ask ourselves that. So that's why we're going through this reckoning. And I already covered what this administration means for America. But I want to talk about this Senate. So the Senate is split. And I heard commentary about, the new Senate Majority Leader is already being weak and all this stuff. For those who don't know Chuck Schumer is not the most combative person. That's not his character. He's more of a peaceful guy. But however, he can get triggered. He can get triggered. And when he was on that energy, of course, and I don't want to make excuses because I'm going to defend him, because he actually does stuff for the state of New York, and especially for New York City, more than the mayor sometimes. The mayors that we had. But I'm just saying is the media criticized him for being combative. But he was right on a lot of issues with Brett Kavanaugh and everything. He was right. He wasn't wrong. I mean, when he was minority leader, what could he do? Mitch McConnell destroyed and desecrated that whole entire Senate for years to come. And because that he did that and followed along with Trump, now you got to deal with people like Rafael Cruz and Joshua Hawley, who are a shit stain to the Senate. And yes, I said shit stain. A big ass shit stain on your underwear. Like a not even a skid mark, and a shit stain. Because that's how evil they are. They will vote against anything, even if it's the good will for the people. Especially people in their state. More so Josh Hawley's state, because Missouri don't have as much. At least Texas got a little bit more in terms of the economy versus Missouri. Missouri don't got shit. And yet, Josh Hawley voting against anything that will help the constituents in his state. Because that's how goddamn deplorable he is. I don't think the GOP will dismiss him. And, of course, everybody's tired of the GOP. Especially the Reagan conservatives of the world. The Reagan conservatives of the world. Yeah. But, yeah. So if I was Chuck Schumer, I would not kowtow to anything that Addison Mitchell McConnell does. I would do something about that filibuster. I'm glad, the impeachment trial is coming on the 9th, even though I'm like, as much as like, why so late? But then he has to confirm Biden's cabinet picks President Biden's cabinet picks, because he came in with no cabinet members. He came in with his vice president and his chief of staff and some of his staff and his administrative staff, and not came with his cabinet members. They just confirmed like 3 of them already. Like they confirmed Janet Yellen, they confirmed Lieutenant Lloyd Austin, the first black defense secretary. And I think they confirmed the DNI, the director of national intelligence. So they confirmed her. But yeah. I mean, I'm like, that's right to confirm them and then conduct this impeachment trial. Now I hope all this shit that these Republicans are talking about, saying like he doesn't need to run for president no more, I hope they stick with their tune and not switch up at the last minute like they do all the goddamn time. That includes Lisa Murkowski. That includes Willard Romney. That includes Benjamin Sass. That includes Patrick Joseph Toomey. That includes Susan Collins. That includes Addison Mitchell McConnell. That includes who else? Charles Grassley. I can name more of the Republicans who say, oh my God, it's wrong. Stick with your tune. Because we know we can't count on Joshua Hawley, Rafael Cruz, Marsha Blackburn, Cindy Hyde-Smith. You can't count on, or Rand Paul. You can't count on them. And I'm not counting on none of these Republicans. Honestly, I'm going to keep it real. I ain't counting on none of them. Because they're trying to save face. But y'all the same ones that voted for his justices and that voted to acquit him. The only one that impeached him from one article of impeachment was Willard Romney. And I feel like he couldn't go all the way because he tried to get a cabinet role years before he became a senator. So he doesn't get a cookie in this neither. So I am going to watch how this is all going to play out. So that's that. But these political pundits, they work my last nerve on all stations. Not just Fox, but some on MSNBC, and some on CNN, and someone on these internet ones. They all need to shut the fuck up. And I say that because not all of them, but most of them need to shut the fuck up. And the reason why I'm saying that is because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, well, President Biden and Vice President Harris, because I'm getting used to it, just got there like 48 hours ago. And y'all already talking about cancel student loan, that they need to do that, and they need to do more executive orders. Joe Biden just did, well, President Biden just signed dozens of executive orders. Vice President Harris is getting her office fumigated because the disgusting man who was in her position that led the coronavirus task force, was disgusting. Like, people need to calm all the hell down. Like, seriously. Some of these conservatives talking about, oh, President Biden said he was going to bring the unity. What happened to the unity? He just got there. And if you really want to talk about unity, you need to ask the question why Rafael Cruz and Joshua Hawley voted against his cabinet picks. Exactly, Queen Lion. What happened? Where's that energy? Keep that same energy. Keep that same energy. But Republicans don't know how to keep that same energy. All they know how to do is point the goddamn fingers. Like Meghan McCain today. She pointed the finger at Dr. Fauci and even President Biden. President Biden not wearing a mask around his family. First of all, he was socially distanced from his family. If anybody that was really careful with the coronavirus, who sounded the alarm of the coronavirus before Donald Trump did, when he called this a Democratic hoax, was then former Vice President Joe Biden, who said Donald Trump needs to get on this right now. Even Joe Biden, President Biden, lend Donald Trump his pandemic plan that he has for this administration right now. Advise him. He did not take the advice. Joe Biden's plan will take too long. President Biden's plan actually works because this is the same President Biden who then Vice President Biden, under the first African-American president, led the pandemic response twice. One for H1N1, which did not have a lot of casualties like this one, and Ebola, which only had 2 casualties. So I would want to take the advice from the former Vice President of the United States, who's willing, nicely giving me advice after I talk shit about his family. And still talk shit about his family during the pandemic. And he was trying to help me. And show me grace. Yeah, but back to Meghan blaming people. He was socially distant from his family. And then you blame Dr. Fauci saying he needed to give his mask to people. That was actually Jerome Adams who tried to stay on. But President Biden said, hell no. See, I got to get used to saying President Biden because I'm always calling him Vice President. And I'm just like, oh, Kamala Harris is the Vice President. Because, I got to, it's all going to marinate in me. But, yeah. The Surgeon General then Jerome Adams is the one that said, you don't have to wear your mask. Not just only Dr. Fauci, it was him. And he was the MF that tried to stay on, and President Biden said, hell no. And I'm pretty sure Vice President Harris said, hell no. And she do need to take several seats. So Meghan McCain needs to miss me with that bullshit that she was saying, this both sides-ism shit. Like, nobody ain't trying to hear that both sides shit. So she needs to cut that fucking bullshit out. That's what she needs to do. And some of these moderates, both Republican and Democrat, Joe Biden needs to do this, needs to tackle this. He just fucking got there. President Biden, Vice President Harris just got there. They're trying to clean up the mess. They're trying to see how they can tackle A, B, C, D, all the way to Z. They don't got time for your commentary. They do not give a fuck about your commentary. Like how I don't give a fuck about your commentary. So all you moderate white Democrats on TV and all you quote-unquote centrist white Democrats on TV, President Biden and Vice President Harris need to do this, need to shut the fuck up. And then the progressives, because they are ongoing. They're going to be an ongoing conversation for the next 4 years. They also need to shut the hell up. And they're not progressive. Progressive, to be a progressive, you are advocating for social change. Not saying you're for this, but then vote against the most progressive thing that's in American history. Like how you vote against the waiver of a retired general who is qualified and also African American. So let's say that again. How you proclaim to be a person advocating for social change and systemic change, but vote against to grant a waiver to a qualified African American man to be one of the highest ranking secretaries in a presidential cabinet. How the fuck do you make that shit make sense? Katie Porter, Cori Bush, Jamal Bowen, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, and Prima Jayapal. How in the fuck do you proclaim to be a progressive but vote against a waiver for the highest ranking, now highest ranking African American man in a U.S. presidential cabinet? This is why I will always side-eye these so-called progressives. You guys, and I'm going to say this, are not F-U-B-U. Figure out what that means. Figure it out. But I will end this here. We have a new, besides me calling out people, we have a new leadership. We have a new president, a new vice president. And I'm so glad to say Mr. President and Madam Vice President, or Vice President, wherever she wants. But Vice President Harris, I love to say that. President Biden, Mr. President, Mrs. Vice President, because she is somebody's Mrs., even though she is the Vice President. I feel comfortable saying that. Even though I really want to say President Harris, but Vice President Harris suits her very well. Kamala Harris has always demonstrated the gratitude and always demonstrated leadership. So she is our leader. She's our number 2. And I'm so happy to call her vice president. And I'm so happy that this administration is going to address science, going to get a hold on science so they can get a hold on the economy and racial injustice, the environment, the infrastructure, the education, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Because there's a saying that was said in my business classes and my finance classes. If you can't solve the health crisis, the public health crisis, you can't solve the economic crisis and all the other crisis that falls behind it. Because it all has to do with public health. So that's a final thought. But until then, you have a good night. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. And continue your social distancing. Have a good night.